maraming matutulungan yung PDAF ko. In fact, ngayon, ang dami nang humihingi sa akin ng medical assistance.
Hindi po kailangan ang panukalang batas para i-abolish yung PDAF.
Mauuwi talaga sa awa yan kasi marami dyan nagsasabi na ayaw nila ng PDAP. Marami nagsasabi dyan, ito ayaw nyo, bigay nyo sa amin.
Must find a way to make sure that the PDAF is implemented properly.
What can be assured is that the investigation will be thorough and will be impartial.
A whopping 10 billion peso scam involving at least 5 senators and 23 representatives made it to the headlines of newspapers, television, and cyberspace. The said scam allegedly involves a certain Janet Lim Napoles, the suspected syndicate leader of a bogus non-government organization where pork barrel funds were purposely maneuvered.
Private investment po, tsaka sasama ko po kay lahat sa Indonesia.
Due to a political firestorm concerning pork barrel, some groups call for radical reforms, including its total abolition. But the other side refuses, saying that it will just create tougher problems. The pork barrel system, officially called as Priority Development Assistance Fund, or PDAF, has been in place since the year 1990. It seeks to channel financial subsidies directly to local government units for projects such as infrastructure and healthcare. Congressmen can receive up to 70 million pesos, while a senator gets at least 200 million pesos annually. According to the report of PCIJ, or Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism, President Noynoy Aquino is the first president to purposely fatten the budget for pork barrel from more than 24 billion pesos in 2012 to 30 billion pesos this year. With this setup, do we see even a trace of hope in calling it a day for the pork barrel, or it's just another day for the so-called great equalizer to which the politicians' constituents pin their hopes on? Welcome to Opposing Views, a hard, straightforward discussion of today's most pressing issues. Time and again, the long-standing system of pork barrel has always been the focal point of many controversies, which include blame games and casting doubts to some political names. But in the end, things remain the same, so we ask the question, is it high time to abolish the Priority Development Assistance Fund or pork barrel? Good evening, I'm Rod Nepomuceno, and this is Opposing Views. All right, joining us tonight in our discussion whether to abolish pork barrel or not is ACT Teacher Party List Representative Antonio Tino. Representative Tino, your take.
Well, I am for the abolition of the pork barrel system, and I, along with some of my colleagues in the Makabayan bloc, filed House Bill 1535, calling for the abolition not only of the legislative pork barrel or the Priority Development Assistance Fund, but also the so-called presidential pork barrel. This includes the President's Social Fund and some other funds. So we are for the abolition of all pork funds.
All right. With us also is Isabela, 1st District Representative Rodito Albano III. Good evening, Congressman Albano.
Yeah, good evening, Rod.
Your take on the pork barrel?
Me, I'm for the retention of the pork barrel. We really need those funds in our district, especially also, I can speak for some of the lawmakers. They also need their funds in their districts.
All right. Congressman Tino, your thoughts on that the whole budget is really one big pork, and then you're going to split it up.
Well, I was going to say that the power of the purse of Congress is over the whole national budget, and the whole national budget is supposed to address the needs of all constituents, whether district in the district or nationally. So hindi nakadepende ito dun sa specific allocation na tinatawag nating PDAF. You asked the question regarding the origins of pork barrel. In fact, this is a term from U.S. politics. And in the U.S., the term pork barrel has a derogatory
it sounds
connotation.
Bad.
It is
itself,
bad. It's meant to precisely to criticize a certain kind of politics that depends on a politician doling out government resources to get votes instead of a politics based on platform, on good policies and so on. No? Dito lang sa Philippine context, it's only here where politicians use the term in a without shame.
Yeah, without shame.
Ganon,
Yeah.
no?
Now, can I ask you, is the pork barrel the root cause of this large-scale corruption? Yes or no?
We've long known that pork barrel has and corruption go hand in hand. But what's different now is the magnitude and scope of this large network of corruption centered on the pork barrel that we're seeing with this, the Janet Lim Napoles network of fake NGOs. And originally, only 28 legislators were named as being involved, but subsequently, more and more
people are involved.
now it's up to 90 plus legislators who have been named as in one way or other channeling their funds to these bogus NGOs funding ghost projects.
All right. Now, Congressman Albano, your thoughts on that?
Actually, what he said is, it's not the fault of the pork. It's the fault of the one using the pork. It's how you use the pork.
All right.
Di ba yung sinasabi niya eh? Siya yung gumagamit ng pork ang may kasalanan, pero yung pork mismo, ano naman kasalanan ng pork?
Parang money is the root of all evil. Di ba?
Yeah, exactly. Ano kasalanan ng money?
So, Congressman Tino, a point has been made here, no, na parang we can't put all the discretion nga on spending this money in the executive. And the reason for the pork barrel is so that the legislators, such as yourselves and all the other congressmen and senators, can also allot for their constituents. What's your take on that? Kasi I guess what we're saying here is kung walang PDAF or PDAF, then you leave it all to the agencies and parang delikado yan. So what's your take on that?
Well, the thing with the pork barrel is it's a specific amount of funds, but the allocation of which is left to the discretion of an individual legislator. No? And that therein lies the problem, no? Bakit paano gagamitin ng congressman yung 70 million niya annually na PDAF? Paano gagamitin ng senator 200 million? It's all up to him where he puts it, no? It's on his own individual discretion. This is different from Congress as a body openly deliberating and it's in a process open to the public kung saan ilalagay ang buong pera ng gobyerno. And let us all collectively as a body decide how to allocate these funds rather than leave it to the discretion of this and that. And as we've seen, it's so easily abused.
So you're saying that a small road in some barrio has to be discussed by the Congress as a whole?
Yes.
I'm just playing, I'm asking.
Exactly, and that was done, that was done before, yung line item budgeting.
What he's suggesting is just transparency. Kung transparent yung the entire Congress and transparent din kami lahat, wala namang ganyan mangyayari.
The pork barrel allotted to you, you account for that, di ba?
We don't even touch that. We just tell the agency na, kasi may menu. The executive gives us a menu
of where to spend.
Where to spend it, di ba? So we just tell the agency, ibigay mo ito dito sa barangay na ito, ibigay mo ito sa town na ito, ibigay mo itong pera to, bahala na sila.
Right now though, and it's about politics is about perception, di ba? Do you feel the need, and I think the perception is for most people is that pork barrel is an evil thing. Do you feel the need to defend the pork barrel, especially in the light of this scam?
Yeah, of course. Kasi I didn't use it. I use it sparingly, di ba? My pork barrel nga no sa last my Dutch pork barrel hindi pa niya ginalaw this year. Na ano ito? There's some people naman who spend it nicely.
You had pork barrel allotted to you. You never used it?
We did.
You did.
This is only my second term.
Okay.
So in our first term, we nominated projects, and some of it was the funds for some of it was released by DBM, and some.
Why is that? Curiously, why would they not release?
Well, this is one of the issues we have with the pork barrel. Is it's used by Malacanang in order to control or influence Congress, no? carrot and stick, precisely. So if you don't toe the Malacanang line, then you can be punished, and the way they do it is by withholding the release of your pork barrel, which is the case.
Maybe that was before. That was before also, maybe. We have a different president now.
Well, this happened under the Aquino administration. As I said, my first term was just the previous Congress. And let's not make light of this fact. No, in fact, the pork barrel is a major instrument by which the president or the executive can subvert or undermine the separation of powers and the checks and balances.
So you're saying that he can use Congress, it as kind of a, I use it as in a loose term, parang like a bribe, ganun?
Yes, well, let's take a concrete example. Under the Arroyo administration, how was the former president able to insulate herself from impeachment? There were 4 impeachment attempts, but how was she able to protect herself? By ensuring the loyalty of the majority of congressmen through the
release
of force. Pag pumirma ka lang nung time na yon, pumirma ka dun sa impeachment complaint, wala ka nang PIDAF.
Hindi naman tatagal yung mga ganun kasi na-institutionalize naman natin yung mga parusa dyan sa mga, that's why sabi niya nga niya, now she's in jail, di ba? So hindi rin nakaligtas. So it's a matter of institutionalizing naman yung safeguards dyan sa pork barrel na yan. It's not bad actually. Yung pork barrel, it's the one using it that makes it bad.
Is it a question, I'd like to throw this to you, to both of you. Is it a question of amount?
It's not a question of amount. Sa akin, okay na yung amount din, 70 million na year. Kung pwede nga, dagdagan pa, mas maganda eh.
Kumbaga, we're talking about the whole PIDAF. We're just talking about legislators. That's 27 billion pesos, all in all. It's PIDAF of 290 or so congressmen and women and 24 senators. So we're talking about a significant
amount. All right.
27 billion out of 2.1 trillion. That's not even also 1% na naman.
All right. Okay, discussion is really heating up here, but let's have a feel of the pulse of our viewers through our online poll. Our question is it high time to abolish pork barrel? Now, 55% said yes, abolish pork barrel. And those who remain optimistic about this is no, that means no, 45%. Now, to join the discussions online, like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Solar Opposing Views, or follow us also on Twitter at opposing_views, or use the hashtag opposing views. We'll take a short break. More on the pork barrel issue when Opposing Views returns. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. You're still watching Opposing Views. Still with us are ACT Teacher Party List Representative Antonio Tino and Isabela, 1st District Representative Rodito Albano III, and we're still discussing if it's high time to abolish the controversial pork barrel. Now, we were having this discussion off the air. Do you think that having pork barrel, or the extent of having the pork barrel, is an indication of our maturity as a democratic country?
Yes, should be. The gauge of maturity here.
But do you think we're ready for that? Do you think we're mature enough for that?
I don't think so.
Hindi pa
People distrust their officials here.
Okay.
It's always anti-government.
Alright.
Siyempre, lagi may suspicion about anybody. Kahit sa pinakamaliit na rank na lang ng pulis, suspicioso pa yung tao.
In my view, the existence of the pork barrel system is precisely a symptom of our feudal political culture. No, it's not truly democratic. Why? Because the pork barrel is what fuels patronage. Pagka merong maralita na may sakit, bakit sa ating lipunan kailangan tumakbo pa sa congressman para makahingi ng medical assistance? Di ba ang dapat, kung totoong may karapatan siya bilang mamamayan, dumiretso siya sa public hospital, at yung public hospital na yon may sapat na pondo para mabigyan siya ng serbisyo.
But is the system like that, Congressman Albano? Like, can I just go, if I needed help, for example, I go to a public hospital, I need help, can I go to my local congressman and the congressman just gives me money from your pork? Does it work that way when it comes to pork?
I don't think it works that way. The congressman has to identify where he puts his pork. Now, supposing he puts 2 million in that hospital, then that citizen can go to that hospital and ask for the pork of the congressman there.
Pero dito, alam mo naman na ang sistema dyan, kailangan yung constituent mo, may bit-bit na guarantee letter na tinatawag mula sa opisina mo, which indicates that you agree to give money to this constituent, and you even specify the amount.
Pero kung
hindi lang basta-basta pwedeng pumunta ron.
Pero kung mamamatay na yung tao, tatanungin mo ba kung binoto mo ba ako? Tatanungin mo ba yun? Siyempre, nasa konsensya mo na yun. Alam mo na.
There's such a thing as a pork buffet menu, as we mentioned earlier. Na there's a list, di ba? There's a list of items that the congressman or the senator, right? Because the senators also have pork barrel, can spend on. And most of it is spent on roads, but there's also financial assistance for general programs. However, do you think, Congressman Tino, that having this identification in a menu lessens the suspicion of people?
Not at all. The menu, which has existed for many years, has in no way reduced the level of corruption of the pork barrel system. No? Yung naririnig natin ngayong pork barrel scam, lahat ng mga projects na in-identify ng mga legislators allegedly, they're all in the menu. So in other words, kung ano pa mang mga safeguards, new safeguards, ang implement ngayon, there's always, where there's a will, there's a way.
Bantay na ng legislator 'yon, no. Siyempre, kailangan niya din makita kung fake ba 'yan, ano ba 'yan, ano ba yung NGO na 'yan, na naka-register ba talaga diyan. Yung agency rin na nag-execute niyan, kailangan alam din niya kung fake 'yun o hindi. Kasi kung mas kuntsaba yung agency na 'yon. It takes two to tango, 'di ba? It's not the pork barrel that's at fault, 'di ba? It's the one who uses it.
Precisely. Pinapakita nga ng pork barrel scam is how corruption has been institutionalized.
Pero ilan lang naman yun?
Dahil, you have allegedly a large number of legislators nominating projects to this small group, this private group, yung group ni Napoles.
Yeah.
No? And as Congressman Albano said, hindi lang mga legislators to, yung executive branch, meron ding complicity dito because they approved, they allowed the projects. How come no one even checked kung totoo ba talaga itong mga...
Yeah, are you talking about X number of 23 congressmen and 5 senators were involved, di ba? And they never got to check.
Yeah, and how come, and this has been going on for 10 years at least, no? And if the whistleblowers hadn't come out, then we would have been none the wiser and the racket would still be ongoing.
Kung inayos nila yung, if I may play devil's advocate here, if inayos lang nila yung sistema, as Congressman Albano said, na, the checks and balances is improved, do you think that there's a chance that you will be swayed to at least consider that pork barrel has some good in it?
Well, I think the way the system is set up, imposible talaga yung na magkaroon ng effective
so talaga may problema ang sistema sa'yo? Sa'yo yung sistema?
You're talking about more or less 300 legislators here nominating thousands of projects every year. Government does not have the capacity to vet, to go through every single project and verify whether or not totoo ba tong beneficiary na to o na-implement pa talaga ito. Even COA, yung mga COA audits, they take place and you get the results a year or 2 years after the project was implemented. So, by the time COA steps in, naitakbo na yung pera, naisuksok sa mga dollar accounts where no one, not even the President or the Supreme Court can
ito na lang
get them.
Nung ginamit mo yung pork mo, okay naman, di ba?
Yes.
Kaya nga, exactly. Kaya nga yung point, Congressman, di ba? Nasa gumagamit yan, di ba? So, huwag mo naman lahatin na lahat ng dyan sa institusyon na yan, lahat ganun sila kasama. Kasi meron ng mga katulad mo, di ba?
Hindi natin nilalahat ang lahat ng mga
Kaya
legislators.
exactly.
But our
exactly.
point is,
Sinasabi ko, may mga katulad mo din. May mga militante, mga kabayan na nagmamahal talaga sa bayan. May mga katulad mo. Tulad natin. Maganda yung ginagawa.
but I'm just saying, ang point natin, yung the system itself, you know, is an institutionalized system of patronage and corruption.
It
And that's
provides
what
the
the
environment for corruption.
framework.
but
You're saying it provides the environment for corruption.
Hindi,
That's
sa ngayon,
what we
sa
want
panahon
to
ni Pinoy
change.
ngayon, sa panahon ni Pinoy ngayon, sa tingin mo, dito sila Pinoy na ayaw talaga nila ng pera. Itong mga to, galit sa pera. Pinoy, si Marroca, si Singson, si Butch Abad, sino pa ba yung mga galit sa pera dyan? Sila Alcala. Ay, di Sean Money. Ayaw nila ng in place na lahat yung mga gusto nilang ini-institutionalize nila laban sa corruption. Ang dami na nila. Maganda na yung...
Una, we can't say that they shun money, ayaw nila sa pera. One thing we do know
si Pinoy,
is that this administration
na namatay yung tatay niya, gugustuhin pa ba niya pera kapalit ng buhay ng tatay niya at nanay niya?
This administration is no less a
this guy-
master of patronage politics, you know, of using government resources in order to build and expand the political base of the ruling party, the Liberal Party. No? So ginagamit yung pork allocation of
Okay, sorry
resources.
to cut in. Sorry, unfortunately, we're running out of time. But let me...
Which is just a point. Which is why the president himself has made his position known that he is not for the abolition of pork. No?
Is it because of that? To expand this political party?
Yeah,
Hindi
well,
ako
yes.
liberal, ha? Ang dami nanalong hindi liberal niya.
Even yung expose originally nung unang lumabas, di ba nga ang nagsabi, bakit puro mga kaaway ng administrasyon lang yung named dito sa pork barrel scam? Subsequently, may mga lumabas na, even allies of the president. No?
Well, unfortunately, we're running out of time. Siguro we need another session. No? But just to wrap up, can a politician serve as a congressman well without the pork barrel? Quick answer.
Of course, and that as legislators, our first principal task is to make laws and to make sure that the laws are implemented. No?
Okay.
We're not there to dole out government resources to our constituents. That's not our function.
All right, Congressman Albano?
What can I say? Budgeting is lawmaking. We have the power of the purse. And again, I'll reiterate my stand. Taxation without representation, sabi nga ni Rudy Fariñas, is tyranny. Diyan nagka-revolusyon doon sa Amerika noong araw. Dahil sa ganyan ginawa ng king na tinataksan niya yung without any representation.
All right. Okay. Well, the debates about pork barrel has begun, but actually it started a long time ago, but it's continuing. But how can we expect reforms if it means taking away heaven to some politicians? After all, the issues that hound pork barrel and the politicians' subsequent stands and reactions to these are just manifestations of a certain truth towards themselves and the nation's political maturity. Let's ask ourselves and the legislators, are we still willing to entrust these large sums of money to our politicians if many far-flung provinces are still below poverty line? And the social weather stations reports that this week that more Filipinos are claiming to be hungry. The most decisive resolve to this issue is our vigilance as citizens as to where their money came from and where it goes. Now, at this point, let's take a final look at our online poll. Our question is it high time to abolish the pork barrel? Little movement. Yes, abolish pork barrel, 57%, and no, do not abolish. And that's our opposing views for tonight. Thanks to our guests, and tune in again next week for another bold and engaging discussion on the most relevant issues of today. I'm Rod Nepomuceno. Good night and God bless.